Alrighty, let's jump right into it. So in case that you are newer to senior marketing specialists or you aren't contracted with us, ooh, let's see. This is already giving me fun issues. Good, good, good. There we go. Alrighty, first slide. Good stuff. So in case you're new or you haven't heard about AMP, what AMP is it is a marketing portfolio that we give you here at Senior Marketing Specialists if you are a contracted agent, and this is totally free. And whenever I say give to you, I mean you fill out a form and you get it if you want. There's a bunch of different collections. We'll go through a lot of those details here today, but this is something that is a really big resource that we offer you for free. This is something that if you wanted to do it on your own, you could be spending hundreds or thousands of dollars to hire a graphic designer and get this done. So it's a really, really cool resource that we have. Will, I know that you've worked with agents for years while you've been here, and I'm sure that this is a very popular thing, something that you've talked about a lot throughout the years.
Yeah, I always hype up the AMP program. Like Sadie mentioned, creating consistent branding is extremely important, and getting a portfolio of everything you need is such a time consumer. It's either a financial consumer or you spend hours, pouring through Canva or whatever design software you want to use to try to build all this stuff out, get everything done, designed, scrap it, redo it again. If you're anything like me, I never like anything the first three times I touch it if we're being good. So I always end up scrapping it multiple times. So we take a lot of that stress out of it for you guys. We know you've got appointments to run, you've got other business needs you need to attend to. We love being able to offer this to help you build a consistent branding profile for your clients.
For sure. And I mean, this is kind of one of those things where agents, individual agents, if you don't have any downlines or you don't have admin staff or anything like that, hey, time is money. So if you're spending your time doing that, you're not out making money. And so this is something that's really awesome for individual agents because they can just, go. But then also, it is made for agents and agencies alike. This is something that agencies, large agencies can use because again, time is money, or it's just a way to save money. If you have a lot of agents underneath you, or you have a lot of downlines, you have a lot of staff, this is one way that you can save money. You're not having to go through that process for every single person, or they're not having to figure out something for every single person. It's just something that you can order for us. So it is for agents and agencies alike. Also, one really cool thing that I think sets this apart from other programs out there, especially ones offered by carriers, is, a lot of people say, well, I can get marketing materials from carriers. One really awesome thing about AMP is it is branded to you. It is not branded to any singular carrier. There's not, the agent down the road that also offers the same products, doesn't have the exact same things. This is something that's going to help build your agency's brand, So, yeah, let's dive into some of the details here. So what's new with AMP? Whenever we say new, we mean it's probably about a year old or so, but like we've said, we've had Agent Marketing Portfolio for years and it totally got a whole new makeover. 18 new collections. Now, one thing to keep in mind with AMP is all of these materials were made and designed in-house. We didn't have anybody else do it. We had our marketing team and our graphic designer do these. So there's 18 collections, and within those 18 collections there are different lines. So for example, let's say you want something rustic. You go to our rustic collection, and then under rustic collection there are a bunch of different options that you can choose from for the different lines. So you have a plethora, like plenty. I was going to go on the website and count how many options you have. I was like, no, I don't have time to do this.
Yeah, there's a ton, and there really truly is something for everybody out there within these collections. Whether you like the more minimalistic style, we've got one that's really heavy on the black, the whites, and the grays, and is super clean. Or if you want to go with pops of color, if that's more your personality, we've got everything between nature, old cars, whatever you could look for under the sun, we probably have it in the AMP collection.
Yes, exactly. Which I think helps. Sometimes people are a little worried, well, what if another agent that works with senior marketing specialists has this? One, that's less likely to happen than if you are, going on Pinterest or something like that, on Canva, making it your own. But also, there are so many options. Like you said, there is multiple options for everyone's taste. So, yeah, you don't run into that very often. So yes, 18 new collections, plenty of stuff for you to look through. We have catalogs, so you're able to look through all of it. Let's see, new items add to each collection. So we'll go over in detail a lot of this stuff on this page, but yeah, new items that were added to the collections, new free things that you get with these portfolios, streamline ordering process, super easy. We'll talk about that here in just a second. It's essentially a form, and that's all you have to fill out. A la carte options, we'll talk about that. And phrasing suitable, like we said, for both agents and agencies.
Mhm.
This is something that, like we said, built in-house, and it is made specifically for the senior market. That is one really beautiful thing about this, is all you have to do is personalize this. You don't have to do any of the other work. Our team does it. You give us your personal information, and then we put it on there, and then you receive it. That's all you have to do. And it's built for this market, so you don't have to worry about it, not being quite the wording that you want. It's made specifically for you agents.
Yeah, and not only is it made specifically for the Medicare market, like Sadie said, but it's all compliant as well. We worked with our in-house compliance officer on this as well to make sure that you guys are clear and fine to market this as you would like to. We know the compliance rules are changing and very complicated, and so we wanted to take that stress off of you guys with this as well.
Yes, well, that's a really good point that I just completely breezed over. That's huge. We've already had it reviewed. It's already up to standards with CMS. So you don't have to worry about, well, is this going to work? Is this, like he said, completely compliant? We've already had it all reviewed and everything. So you are good to go. Yeah, that's a huge point. Can't believe I missed that. Okay, so how can AMP help our agents? We could probably talk all day about how important it is to have marketing strategies, how it's not just something that you kind of throw at the wall and see if it catches. You do, but in a little bit more of a strategic way. AMP is going to make your marketing strategies so much easier. It streamlines it. And there are kind of three different ways that it's going to do that. The first one is creating a consistent brand image. This is something that will give you an identifiable look. Whenever it comes to building brand image, it's something that you are doing over the course of years, for as long as you are in business, but you have to do it consistently. You have to do it constantly. It has to be something that you keep up with, and it has to be something that is consistent enough to where people will remember it. You think of like McDonald's, whenever you see red and yellow together, or you see those arches, you don't have,
Yep.
everyone knows. And so AMP is going to help you with that, because it gives you one line that has one look. So a bunch of your marketing pieces and a bunch of these extra things that you can give to your clients, it's all one look. So that way, whenever they see that, they associate it with you, whether or not they read your name.
And within that consistent brand image, like Sadie was talking about, a lot of these pieces you can put your headshots on. We're not always seeing prospective clients for the first time face to face. A lot of times, you got their information from someone, so they're calling you or you're calling them. If you're sending them one of these pieces with your headshot on there, they can immediately connect that face to the name, and really helps to kind of break down that barrier when you're starting to work with them as well.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And it's one of those things where it's like, hey, they probably have had, multiple people give them things and stuff like that. So having that headshot on there, having the consistent, all of the pieces that you get from them, they are able to kind of help remember, give more visual cues to kind of remember that, hey, I'm the person that you call, or, whatever it may be. But events and seminars and client meetings. So this is just going to give you pieces that you're able to give your clients, and they can tangibly have something in their hands. They might see it online sometimes, they might see whatever you send out, but AMP gives you pieces that they are able to have in their hands, that they're able to like physically look at, and that's just connecting them even deeper to your brand. Events and seminars, they have different products that you can hand out at those. But like he said, I mean, I think it's important after an event or seminar or something like that, seeing your headshot on those things and connecting what I just saw and having this with me. I mean, I think it does a lot. For people to remember. So, and then of course the different styles and themes and that sort of stuff, you can get those different collections that kind of fit your occasion. So like we said, there's a bunch of different things that you can choose from. There's something for every agent out there. I mean, there's plenty, there's multiple options for whatever you're wanting, but it gives them something tangible to have in their hands that are connecting them physically to your brand. Were you gonna say something? Okay, sorry.
I was. Then Kat got my tongue for a second. But yeah, so when you're looking at some of the stuff, and we'll go into further detail with a lot of it later, but there's a lot of non-directly related sales items that I think a lot of people let slip kind of under the radar that are great for events and seminars. If you've got a booth somewhere, don't always think about the sales materials within AMP to bring to that. We've got things like recipe cards. If you just have a stack of, if grandma's got a great banana bread recipe, I know I'm a fiend for banana bread myself.
Mm-hmm.
If grandma's got a great banana bread recipe, you can put that on the recipe card and just have a stack of those as well. With a little sign that says, take a recipe card, and that's got your contact information on it. So if they put it on their fridge or they put it in the booklet, you're with them with the rest of their recipes as well. So there's a lot of non-directly related sales items that are so beneficial to have for events as well.
Yes, exactly. It's not just stuff. And here, we'll show some pictures here. This is what's included in the collection. Like he was saying right here, there's that recipe card. I mean, brand building is about just keeping your brand in that imagery in front of them at all times. So, hey, if that means a recipe card that's on a magnet on their fridge and it keeps your brand, it keeps your face. Anywhere on here, the little examples, they have like little animals. So anywhere that you see a golden retriever with the flower in its mouth, that's where your headshot would go. Or hey, I mean, if it were me, I would request to keep that rather than my headshot. But no, anywhere on here that you see that little golden retriever, that's where your headshot would go. So it's quite literally keeping your imagery on there, but also your face right in front of them. They have extra things. So the recipe card, that's something that's new in the collection, something that's really awesome that we've been saying for years. And we finally, as kind of a marketing branding technique, and we've added it here. Also, another thing that we've added is right here. Hopefully you guys can see my mouse, but you can see they have bookmarks, medication trackers. These are something that's really awesome that whenever you send them home afterwards, say, hey, go home and write down all your medications, or if you add any medications, write them down on here, write down your shot dates, and whenever you come back, we can make sure we get those added. But yeah, they have plenty of stuff. They've had the door hanger for years, the trifold brochure. But this is just one example of one of the lines that we have, one of the collections. But everything that you see in here, you get in all of the collections. So you get it with whatever design.
I was going to highlight a couple of the pieces on here. If you guys, when you're looking at them, thinking about it, like Sadie said, that medication tracker is great to send them home with. But another reason to talk about it with your clients when you're giving that to them is in the unfortunate event of an emergency, first responders need to know what medications somebody is taking. If someone has this listed out right there, they've got an easy list of everything that they're on, and they know how to address early care with them versus if they don't know, there may unfortunately be some medicines that don't interact well. So that medication tracker is used for all sorts of great reasons. Make sure their emergency contact has it as well when you're giving it to them. And then that important numbers piece as well. It literally just is important numbers. So it's got like Medicare's number, local state Department of Insurance's number, and just those other kind of resources that a lot of clients either will will reach out to you, hey, what's, my Social Security office down the road, what's their phone number? That's right there on the important numbers card. Have them stick it to their fridge, keep it nice and handy. So those are a couple that I really like and that I wanted to make sure we highlighted today.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that important numbers. That's something that I feel like is so handy and I would never think of having, but it's kind of like a pin where it's like you get a free pen somewhere and you have it in your purse, but you use it all the time. You know, you use that free pen all the time. That would be something that you would have right there. I put those kind of things like in my wallet, so that way they always have it with them. They have it in their purse, whatever it may be, and they're constantly seeing it. That's what like great brand building is just the little things, keeping that in front of them at all times. And that's a perfect example of that. But yeah, so you have a lot of the normal stuff we won't spend too much time on here. T65 flyer. We have right here postcard mailers if you want to send those out. Brochure, a letterhead. This is something that you get with it. So if you just want to have this file on hand and then you want to print out different things at your office with that, you can have that. Let's see, we do have a question here. Does the medication tracker have more of the form to list more drugs? Some folks have many prescription drugs they take. That's a very good question. I'm sure that it could be, well, I can't say for sure. It might be able to be edited. Probably not, because a lot of the AMP things are just personalized. They're not customized. But this might be something that is good to use for putting maybe, you know, the most frequent or whatever it may be. That is a very good question, but they also saved room on there for the recent vaccines. But I think most of this, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You know, you make a great point. I think looking at it, there's about 10 lines for medications on there. So a client could get about 10 on there. You could always send them home with 2 if they have more than that, or if they're kind of pushing that and you want to make sure that they have room, send them home with the second one. It's just more branding of you going home with them if you do that.
Yeah, good answer. I like that one better than mine. All righty, great question, Linda. So navigating the AMP program. So we're talking about all that it has. You're like, okay, how the heck do I get it? So the easiest way, if you want to look through the AMP catalogs, if you just want to check it out, if you are a agent contracted with Senior Marketing Specialists, you can go on our website, you can look through all of it. So how you do that is you go to smsteam.net, that is just our website. Up at the very top on the homepage, you'll click services. And then if you scroll down, there will be a box that says Agent Marketing Portfolio. Super easy to get to. Also, we'll have links and stuff like that in our follow-up email, so don't worry about that. Or if you want to call in, our team is always happy to walk you through. But like we said earlier, it's a very streamlined process. It's very easy. You don't have to fill out a million forms or anything like that. You go on that page. You can find all the information that you need on there. It has pictures of everything, so you don't have to be like, oh, this is the rustic line and it's blank in the rustic line. Well, I don't really know what that looks like, but sure. It will have example images of every single thing that you order, so you don't have to worry about that. And then whenever you're ready to fill it out, you go ahead and click on the order form, and the order form will allow you to fill out all of the information that you need. And one thing that I think is important to mention is this isn't just an automated system that takes your information and puts it in. It is our marketing team. So it's a real human that is filling out the information for you. So you will have about, at longest, a 10-day turnaround. Most of the time they get it to you in a few days, but we do have that leniency period of 10-day turnaround. And they'll fill it out. Another thing to keep in mind is they don't want to assume anything. So make sure that you have typed out on the form exactly what you want. For example, double check to make sure all your names and everything like that is spelled correctly. But even little things like for your address, if you want street spelled out, make sure to spell out street and don't put like ST period, if that makes sense. Because they just take the information that's on there and they put it right on there. But it's never a robot, it's always a human. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Yep, and you know, whenever they send these over to you as well, they will say if anything does not look correct, to please let them know, and they can make edits and tweaks. If, you know, maybe, I know sometimes when I type, I get a little dyslexic, I swear, and I cross letters and numbers and all sorts of craziness. And so I'll think I typed something correctly, go back when I see it, like that was not even remotely close. So yeah. They allow for that, you know, as well. We're all humans, we all will mistype, or maybe we see it on there and we're like, I don't want street spelled out. It looks a little clunky. I want it back to the abbreviation. They can work with you on that as well. So when you get the email from our marketing team and the graphic design team, it'll say if anything doesn't look correct, please let us know.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing that we'll talk about here in a second, but you get all of the like PDF files and you get the files. We won't be sending you like a big package in the mail with all of the paper goods. You'll print them out yourself. We'll talk about that here in just a second. So don't worry about, well, what if I get a whole package in the mail and, all of it's spelled? Don't worry about that. All it is you say, hey, I kind of want this spelled out. I think it looks better. And they just change the files and send them to you. So it's a little bit hassle-free there for you, so don't worry about it. One thing to keep in mind is there are 2 orders per agent per year. So in 1 year, you can't go and pick out every single one. You wouldn't want to because consistent brand imaging. That's the whole point of this. So, but we do have a seasonal line. So if you choose the seasonal line, each season we come out with new stuff. If you get all 4 seasons, that just counts as 1. So you don't have to worry about, well, I won all. It just counts as 1. You don't have to worry about getting just 2 of the seasons. But yes, so super easy to get AMP. Again, you do have to be contracted with Senior Marketing Specialist in order to get it, but it is a free program, which can save you. I mean, truly, whenever our marketing team launched this to us, one of the big questions was, well, if someone were to do this on their own, how much would this cost? And our graphic designer at the time had come from another place that did something like this, and she was like, oh, hundreds to thousands of dollars. I mean, just to get the designs. So It really is a big deal that you have all of these basically at your fingertips. Alrighty. So like we said, we're almost done here. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in there. But there are different files that you get sent. So like we said, you fill out the form. People in the marketing team, they get started. Whenever they're all done filling it all out for you, they send over 2 different sorts of files. One is going to be print files and one's going to be personal use files. Those print files, what they are is they are ready to be printed. What we suggest is you go to a professional print shop to have all of these printed out, just because it will look very professional. It'll look very good. And these files are specifically made to look very good whenever you print them. We have some recommendations about that we'll talk about here in a second. But the print files that are print ready, and then the personal use files, these are going to be things that you can keep in office and print yourself. They're not necessarily the files that you'll use to get professionally printed, but if you want the letterhead in your office so that way you can print stuff out on your own with your letterhead on there, you'll have the files to do so. So it's super easy. With that personal use files, you'll probably get something like a Word doc or something like that. But they will also give you all of the instructions that you need. So they won't just send you these files and be like, hey, good luck. You'll have instructions. Don't worry about it. If you're new to this, if you're like, I don't know what to use to print, or I don't know, and don't worry. We've had the professionals figure it out, and you will have plenty of instruction there.
Yeah, we did a lot of that legwork for you guys so that you don't have to. I know, printing can be a hassle, a nightmare. Printer ink isn't cheap. So we wanted to make sure that we gave you the tools that you needed to get it done and get it done right the first time.
Yes, exactly. And just a few more details on getting the actual order printed. Like we said, you print it yourself. That is one reason why we get to offer this to you guys for free. We do not send you the printed goods. We just send you the files. But I mean, that's the most of the work. And it's a lot of the cost that you have whenever you're ordering marketing materials. So that's why we can offer it to you for free. And then you can print it as often as you want, and you don't have to wait for us. You can just go print it as you need. 2 places that we recommend is GotPrint and Vistaprint. These are websites. You can go and look them up, kind of look at their prices, talk to them, see as you'd like. But these are both places that we have used internally, so we know that they're good recommendations. They have really professional printing, so you don't have to worry about that. And yeah, super easy to work with. Let's see. Oh yeah, the collection catalogs will provide details on sizing and common print sizes. If this is something that you have done before, if you've printed, you know that the ratios of the files and all that sort of stuff all of that matters. And sometimes it takes a little bit of math, or it takes a little bit of research in order to figure out what is what and what is needed. And they have a whole cheat sheet to tell you the sizes and all that sort of stuff. So that way you don't mess that up and don't pay for things that you don't want. And then
Yeah.
designs are, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I know it seems a little silly to recommend professional printing for something, but there really truly is a vast difference in home printers versus like industrial grade printers. I mean, the cleanliness and the sharpness of the lines is so different from if I were to print this on my home printer versus if I sent it to Vistaprint to have done. I mean, it's crisp, the lines don't blur at all. So there really truly is a reason that we do recommend it.
Yes, 100%. And each of these designs, they're very versatile, so they can be printed however you want. I mean, truly, this is something that's very personalized. On top of all the different designs, you can print it glossy, you can print it matte, you can print it however you want, and all of these will turn out well. These designs were made to make sure that no matter how you print them, they're going to turn out very professional looking, which are the kind of details that if you didn't have someone who knew, like I wouldn't know that that sort of stuff matters if it weren't for something like this. So AMP really, I mean, really, they worked on it for probably about a year. Our marketing team did. So they really put in a lot of work and a lot of thought process to make sure that AMP is as high quality as we can possibly get it.
Yep. So we do have a question in the question box. Timothy, these pieces are compliant and they are approved. I don't have the CMS number handy, but that's something we can get from our compliance officer, and I'll have the teams follow up with you afterwards to get you all the resources on that.
Yes. And these resources don't have to, you might know a little bit better than I do, but these resources don't have to have the CMS number on them, because like some of the other marketing pieces, correct, because they aren't promoting certain.
So yeah, with a lot of these pieces, we walked the line and kept them within the bounds of communication. So a lot of these pieces actually truly in CMS's eyes aren't deemed as marketing. And I know, that's a whole conversation for another time of how does CMS truly deem marketing versus communication. So that's something that our compliance officer has dealt with all of these pieces. Any of them that are truly marketing were submitted, have approval, have all that. But a lot of them we kept within the bounds of communication as CMS deems it. So then they actually don't have to go through that same approval process as any other pieces or true, direct mail lead pieces do.
Yes, there we go. So like he said, we have a compliance officer on staff, as well as, our marketing team works specifically for senior marketing specialists. So they know all of the things that they need to know as far as marketing goes in the senior market with all of the updates. And so we've gone through our compliance officer. He had a big help and went through all that. So you don't have to worry about the compliance or getting flagged or anything like that. We totally did all that work for you. And you might want to be extra careful. If you have any questions and you want to make sure, please feel free to call our office. We'd love to talk through that with you and kind of tell you about the process of what we went through. But we feel confident enough to say on this recorded webinar that they should be good to go. So yes. Let's see. So how can you tell what the font is being printed in? What do you mean by that, Carrie? Do you mean like, is it personalized? Can you change the fonts and all that sort of stuff? Not exactly sure what you mean there, but go ahead and let us know. A la carte materials. So one thing about AMP is you don't just have to have the collection. I know that's something that's really popular actually, and Will can speak a little bit about this because I know that he works with a lot of agents that love this stuff, but you don't have to have just a full collection. You can order individual pieces as well that we have available.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only do the agents that I work with love a lot of these a la carte materials, but I do as well. Looking at a couple of them that I like to highlight, the quarterly newsletters, phenomenal. I tell an agent you need to be touching base 7 times minimum with your clients per year. These quarterly newsletters take out 4 for you. So you've got just 3 left that you've got to figure out how you want to touch base with them. They're great. They usually have a Medicare fact Within them, just a little fun fact, a list of upcoming holidays, things like that in there, your contact information, and then usually some sort of recipe or something else that's also tucked in there. So those quarterly newsletters are great to utilize. And then within the a la carte as well, a lot of people sleep on the a la carte items with the product specific stuff. They tend to look at the full collections and not kind of get into the specifics. Look, we know there's a lot of ancillary products that are really, really hot right now. You've got dental is one of the ones that you can do just a product specific of dental on. Most people are used to having dental on their group insurance. So when they retire or come off of that group, they're used to having that coverage. If you've got a piece right there with your contact information that talks about it, they could be asking you about getting dental and making the sale so much easier for you. But we've got just general retirement ones in there, T65 ones, hospital coverage, vision, general legacy planning as well if you do more on the financial side. So those product specific postcards are absolutely slept on and I love them. And last but certainly not least, the Wi-Fi signs. I don't know about you guys, but if I go somewhere and I'm going to be there for a little bit or I need to access my phone, not knowing what their Wi-Fi login or them having to go check the router and then send it to me is just always a bear of a process. So those Wi-Fi signs, if you have Wi-Fi in your office, it'll tell them right there, this is the Wi-Fi you need to be logging into and this is the password. Keeps people from having to fumble around to try to find that super complicated lengthy router password. Right there, if you've got a waiting room, maybe they want to watch YouTube videos or scroll through Facebook or what have you, being on the Wi-Fi makes that so much nicer.
Yes, for sure. I mean, these, like you said, these pieces, a lot of the a la carte materials are things that we get a lot of great feedback from. We hear a lot of people talk about these and how useful they are. It's also a really great way for you to kind of like dip your toes into AMP, kind of figure out what it's about before you want to order a whole collection. A la carte, super easy to just go in there and kind of check it out and see. But yeah, they're all individual things and there's a lot of really good stuff on there, much more than what we have here on the slide. But yes, so Carrie, so she clarified the cards I ordered with a 6 font, size 6 font and could not be read when printed. So Carrie, these were made by, like we said, by our marketing team. They've been tested out and all that sort of stuff. So they have specific guidelines that they stick within as far as the way that the font paragraphs are structured in the size of fonts and all that sort of stuff. So you are able to sit back and relax and know that it should all be good because they've tested out all of these different things. Now, if you get it and you're like, that's too small, let us know and give us that feedback, and then they'd be happy to change that for you and or work with you and see if there's a better size font or something that you'd be more comfortable with. But all of this stuff should be able, let's see, the phone number could not be read when I had the card printed. Okay, awesome feedback. So go ahead and contact us after this and we'll be happy to work with you and see if there's a different size that you'd want. Because hey, everybody wants, and that might have been a mistake. They're humans. Like we said, it's not a robot doing it. It is our actual marketing team doing it. So give us a call and we'd be happy to fix that for you for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes, I know we've had this happen. Agents have multiple phone numbers they want listed or multiple addresses if you have 2 office locations. Sometimes that happens as well, since they have sizes that these are supposed to be printed on. It kind of crams the font into them. So we try to work with that as best we can, but absolutely, like Sadie said, make sure that you're following up with us afterwards and we'll see what additional tweaks or whatnot the graphic designers can work with you on.
Sure. Alrighty, folks, we are almost done here. One of the things that we want to say towards the end here is getting the most out of your AMP order. You can order the supplies and you can kind of just use them how you want, but there's a bunch of different ways in which these can be utilized. So having extra items on hand, always having those business cards, always kind of having some of those recipe cards on hand. Like you said, those medication trackers, they're really, really awesome stuff. Having some T65 flyers, just in case, you talk to someone and they mention that their aunt is turning 65 soon or something like that. Always having these on hand because you can print out as much as you want. And they're easily available to you. So always having extra on hand, taking them to events and seminars, using them when emailing clients. I mean, there's plenty of ways that you can use this. Will, not to put you on the spot, but I know that you work with agents that use it. What are some of you see ways that agents are using their AMP pieces the most?
Yeah, so those, we didn't really hit on it a whole lot, but we've got those trifold brochures. Those are really popular to have if you do have a waiting room in your office, kind of in one of those, like, I don't know what to call, but wall organizers, for lack of a better word, where you've got various product brochures or things like that in there, as well. If you do any of the product specific a la carte ones, those can be tucked in as well for reading materials or to easily hand to people. With the extras, if you give your clients a welcome packet after they leave when they meet with you, which I highly recommend doing if you're not, in there with a recap of everything that you covered, the plans they enrolled in, all that kind of stuff. Shove a couple business cards. If there were additional products you didn't talk about today, but you want to get to down the line, stick them in there. Stick that medication list in their welcome packet after they leave with you. So it's all about giving them as much stuff as possible. And then same stuff goes for the events and the seminars. Have as many piles of whatever you'd like there. Think, like we said earlier, the non-salesy stuff, just the stuff that grabs people's attention and gets them talking, gets them thinking. If you have someone come over and they start talking to you a bunch about something that you've got there, it'll draw other people over, creates a light, no pressure sales environment for you. So really try to think outside of the box as well. The doorknob flyers. If you had an appointment with a client at their house and something happened, maybe they weren't there, maybe they decided to take a midday snooze and they slept through their appointment, you can hang that "sorry I missed you" on the front door, and then if they go out later in the day, it's right there. We all know things happen. I've fallen asleep and I've missed things before. It happens to all of us. So that's one that goes under the radar too. A missed appointment, stick it on their door. They'll see you and they get back home and they'll call you and be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I forgot." So it's a great, easy way to kind of tie back together on that appointment.
For sure. I love that. I love that. All righty, you guys. We have reached the end here. We've had some great questions so far. If you have any other questions, please feel free to throw them in the questionnaire box. We'll hang around for just another minute or two, get those questions answered for you. But hey, like we said, please feel free to call us afterwards. You'll be receiving a follow-up email and a follow-up call. You can reply to that email if you have any questions. We'd be happy to get you connected with our marketing team. If you've ordered, like Carrie, if you've ordered stuff in the past and there's something that you might want to change or you want to work with our team on, a lot of it, as far as like the design goes, you can't, but things like that, font and stuff like that, we want to make sure that the orders are the way that you want them to be and make sure that they are meeting expectations. So please feel free to contact us and we can talk to our team about that. Like we said, it's real humans doing it. It's not just, anything. And Will also said this, sometimes people want a couple names on there, or they want a couple phone numbers or different addresses and stuff like that. We can totally do that. We're happy to put, as long as it fits and as long as the design still looks good and we're not, sacrificing the integrity of the design, we're happy to put multiple phone numbers and stuff like that on there. But yeah, there's some really great stuff. Will, do you have like again, I'm putting you on the spot and there's so many, but do you have like a favorite line on there?
I am a big fan of the rustic, personally. Almost all
Yeah.
of them within the rustic, it meshes with me. I'm not really big on like super colorful poppy stuff that, despite the shirt that I'm wearing probably saying otherwise, but I really like the rustic line. I think there's a lot of really good stuff within there. And the Golden Years collection as well, I think really, really works well for the Medicare market.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one nice thing about this is like there's like a geometric, there's one that has like no pictures on it, or there's a bunch that have like no pictures on it and they're just like lines and colors and stuff like that. And then they have some that have more graphics on it. And Danny, our old graphic designer, she did this whole thing. And I mean, it's incredible. We were all blown away whenever we saw it. So yeah.
Yep. That's what we pay them. We pay them to make these things beautiful so you guys don't have to stress about it.
Yes, absolutely. Alrighty, guys. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. Like we said, feel free to ask us afterwards. You'll be contacted a couple times by us, but we're so happy that you joined us today. Whether you've used this before or, this is something that you're interested in, we're really glad that you're here. like we said, this is free for our contracted agents. It's an incredible thing, and there's not too many other places out there that offer something like this. And so it's a really incredible resource. At least we would love to have a conversation with you to see if this is maybe something we can help you out with. But yeah, thank you all so much. Thanks for joining me today, Will.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sadie. Have a good one.
See ya. Have a good one.